स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी अष्टता त्रिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवत गीता की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So once again, I welcome you all for today's session. We are in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, entitled Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness. It is also given the name by the Vyasadeva as Prakriti, Purusha and Viveka Yoga. Viveka means discrimination. Prakriti, Purusha and Viveka. So Prakriti means nature, Purusha means the enjoyer, and Viveka Yoga means the discrimination. Here it is, when you have the right kind of consciousness, then you will be able to discriminate. So that is what we we entered into the chapter 13 now. If you see, the Bhakti Yoga is in the middle, 7 to 12, and 1 to 6 is Karma section, and action. Karma means action. Action on the platform of knowledge. Perfection of actions, actions performed to please Lord Krishna. That in one way becomes Bhakti Yoga, or it is culminating, karma is getting culminated to Bhakti Yoga when you do actions for the pleasure of Krishna. And here, the perfection of Jnana is that when you have the right knowledge and then you do it for the service, for the satisfaction of Krishna, then it culminates into Bhakti Yoga. So both in one way are culminating into Bhakti Yoga. Now, why do we need this Jnana Yoga separately if Bhakti Yoga is already there? So Krishna, in one way, from the next 13th chapter to 17th chapter, Krishna wanted to reinforce certain things so that you can have the right kind of a discrimination power while you are taking some decisions or being in this material. How do you conduct yourself? So that is what is the emphasis. Now, from a layman's perspective, if you see, what is the understanding of karma, jnana and bhakti? So usually what they say is karma means working, jnana means more to do with studying, and bhakti means doing nothing. So this is what most of the time people have the concept, that bhakti means doing nothing. Not doing any action at all is bhakti. But here Krishna are actually, so what is bhakti then? So we have been going through a lot of chapters and we understood what is bhakti. But again, it's always good to reiterate what is bhakti. Can somebody tell in their own words what is bhakti? If you have the opportunity to unmute and also say or put it in the chat, anything is fine. So what is bhakti then? Because that clear conception, if it is there, it will be easy for us to move forward. On what basis you can define bhakti? On what basis? Obviously, we would like to define bhakti based on Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. See, I cannot give my own definition of bhakti and say that, yeah, just do this. So anything has to pass through the litmus steps of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So if for that matter, once the same kind of question was asked to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's guru, doing action in one way for the satisfaction of Krishna is bhakti. That's what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. Doing action is what is bhakti, and that too you are doing it for Krishna. Now, Srila Prabhupada, in most of his purports in Bhagavad Gita also, the way he is defined is engaging all your senses in the service of the Lord is bhakti. Engaging all your senses in the service of the Lord is called bhakti. And what does Shastra say? See, Shastra says, Rushikena Rushikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So this is from the Narada Bhakti Sutras. Narada says that Rushikena Rushikesha. Rushikesha. There is one near Haridwar, there is one place called Rushikesh. So what is Rushikesh? Rushikesh, he is the Lord of the senses. Krishna is the Lord of senses. The other name for Krishna is Rushikesh. He is the Lord of the senses. And now, what are the senses? Now, if you see, you need to know in depth what are these senses, how do they operate in this world, and how do I operate internally and externally. All this knowledge is what is getting elaborated in the subsequent chapters from 13 to 17. So, if you see, we are all made up of, we know that we are made up of 5 gross elements, which are earth, water, fire, air and ether. So these are the 5 elements with which we are made up of. And there are other 8 senses are there. What are the 8 senses? Can somebody tell me? What are the 8 senses? That's what it is mentioned. that we have 8 senses. What are these 8 senses? I know that there are 5 senses, which is karmendriyas. Karmendriyas, and we basically we know that there are your eyes are there, nose, tongue, touch, and all these ears. All these are 5 sensory elements through which you can sense this material world. And the other 3 senses are mind, intelligence, and ego. So this all makes us that there are 8 senses, and if you can use these 8 senses in the service of the Lord, or engage these 8 in the service of the Lord, then that is what is called as Bhakti Yoga, as per Srila Prabhupada. Right? So in one way, as per Shastra also, Rushikena Rushikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So when you engage these senses, all the 8 senses in the service of the Lord, then you are doing Bhakti Yoga and nothing else. Right? So now, in the previous chapter, what we have seen is that especially in the 12.8 and subsequently, Krishna was defining in bhakti, in worship only, he was defining the levels. The first level is that mind fixed on Krishna. So he's saying that the topmost is that manmana manabhakto, madhyajima namaskuru. So you always keep me in the center and keep me in your mind. So always keep that. So what is the overall philosophy that has been given to us is that highest principle is that always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. How is that possible? When you fix Krishna in your mind, then that is what will you can able to get to that kind of a state. Now that is the topmost 12.8. This is level 1. But Krishna is saying that okay, if you are not able to do this, the second thing you can follow. What is the second thing? Follow regulative principles of sadhana bhakti, and then establish in devotional service. So the topmost is that. The second one is follow regulative principles and do sadhana bhakti. What is sadhana bhakti? Sadhana bhakti is basically Rupa Goswami says that we are supposed to do our chanting. We are supposed to basically visit the temples whenever possible and do our activities and follow the regulative principles for sure. So once you develop desire to attain Krishna, so what will be happening? You will be developing the desire, because our desires are not purified. So once you start sadhana bhakti, which is all what we are in, so we are all sadhana bhaktas. So, and these sadhana bhakti principles have been given to us by Rupa Goswami. So we are also called as Rupanuragas. So that means we are followers of Rupa Goswami, because in the Nectar of Instructions, Rupa Goswami has given elaborately about sadhana bhakti, how we should do this sadhana, and why we should. Somebody was asking why 108 only, or why 16 rounds, etc., etc. So many things, right? So how do we do this sadhana bhakti is what is given there, and we are also called as Rupanuragas, because we are followers of our previous Acharya Rupa Goswami. And the next level, if you are not able to do this sadhana bhakti also, Krishna is mercifully saying, okay, work for Krishna. At least now, whatever work you are doing, dovetail it with me. So work for Krishna. You don't work for your sense enjoyment, but work for Krishna. At least work at that level. So that is what he's saying. We'll come to a stage of devotional service. Now, once you work for Krishna and keep at least, what am I doing for whom I am doing? I am doing it for Krishna. At least to some extent, when you are doing this kind of a attitude is there, you can come to the stage of devotional service. You are not yet there at the devotional service stage, but you can come. The last one is what Krishna is saying, the lowest stage, and it is not a direct stage, because you do not have inclination towards Krishna, then he is saying that renunciation, cultivation of knowledge and meditation, this is what you can do. You are not bringing Krishna anywhere in your picture, because you are, this is the lowest stage. But if you cannot do any of this, okay, at least do that. What will happen if you do it? Some purification will happen. Peace and gradually you will be elevated to come and take up the other levels which are there. So you will be gradually elevated. So that is what we discussed. And now, what is the connection between the previous chapter and this chapter? Actually, this is what is discussed in the progressive stages of devotion. And for that, you need to cultivate the knowledge also, because we don't want to just do it with blind faith. We should do it with knowledge. And that's the reason why Krishna is giving all this knowledge. And we have seen that Buddhi Yoga is the topmost yoga. Buddhi Yoga, where you are using your intellect. Because the subtlest, yesterday Pawan Kumar Prabhu was asking one question where mind, intelligence, and these are in what way, which is superior, which is not. If you see, intellect is much more superior and much more subtle. And if you can utilize that subtlest one, which is there in your capacity, then that means to say you have come to a higher notch. So Buddhi Yoga is basically, as we kept on defining this, Buddhi Yoga is Karma Yoga on a strong platform of Jnana Yoga with a mindset of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga here means that you need to think Manmana Manbhakto, always keeping Krishna in mind. That ... if you see in that chart that we have discussed earlier, that is what you are keeping Krishna in mind. So mind fixed in on Krishna, that is the topmost. But you are utilizing other things also. What you are utilizing? Whatever karma you are doing doing karma, and you are doing with jnana. And again, why you are doing, and all this will happen when you use your intellect. So that's called Buddhi Yoga. So Buddhi Yogantam. That's what Srila Prabhupada was saying. Okay, so this was a very important sloka in the previous chapter, 12.67. We did not emphasize so much. 12th chapter, 6th and 7th slokas. Etu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha ananyanaiva yogena Mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha mai aveshita chetasam. Who has fixed his mind upon me, O son of Partha, for him I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. You might have seen this, what is that, this particular picture many times. And somebody was also asking today, so how is that Supreme Lord comes on the Garuda and then delivers us? So here what he is saying is that I am the swift deliverer from the ocean. So we are caught up in this material world, which is a Maya, which is a material ocean. So when you act keeping the Krishna in mind and do engage yourself in devotional service, then you will be able to overcome this material ocean, which is having the lot of problems, including Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, and so all this you will be able to overcome. It is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from this material existence by the Lord. By the Lord himself, he will come and deliver us. We have seen that there are two types of marks that we can use: margina mark or market mark. So in this mark, Krishna is going to come and pick us up. So pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to him. Right now we are thinking that I am the boss, I am the controller, whatever, and you are always having that tendency. So once you submit yourself and understand that Krishna is the Purusha, Purusha meaning enjoyer, and who am I? I am supposed to be the to be enjoyed. So to be enjoyed by whom? To be enjoyed by Purusha. So that is what, that is the consciousness we need to build, and slowly, as stated before, the Supreme Lord can only be appreciated by devotional service. What do you mean by appreciated by devotional service? So a lot of people basically come across uh, whether I should be able to take up to this process or not, whether I should go to Krishna for any of my desires if I have or not. So once a, a person who was there with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he wanted to go and talk to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was doing voluntary service, and he was then the person who was there before he meets the Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he wants to find out why are you going to meet Guruji. Then he said, I wanted to buy a soap, and because my soap is exhausted, I wanted to go and find out if I can spend that few annas and buy a soap. That's the reason why I wanted to go to Guru Maharaj and then ask. Then this person was saying that why are you wasting Guru Maharaj's time for this kind of a petty reasons? You should go for him for something beyond this kind of issues. So don't waste Guru Maharaj's time. Now, when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur got to know that this is what this person came for, then he appreciated the other person who came for asking Guru Maharaj whether I should spend this 1 anna or 2 annas for the for buying soap. He said, see, for everything he is coming to seek the guidance of the spiritual master. In one way, he has seen the positiveness in that. So similarly, each one of us, we can go to the spiritual, basically approach the Supreme Lord for whatever difficulties we have, small difficulties, big difficulties, we can go and approach him. So we have also seen one very beautiful song. So we can spend a little bit of time to sing this song. So this has got a very in-depth philosophy, and that's the mindset that we should also get into. I'll try to sing this. He Ram, tu hi mata, tu hi pita hai. Tu hi mata, tu hi pita hai. तू ही तो है राधा का श्याम. हे राम, तू अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी. तू अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी. तेरो चरणों में है चारों धाम. हे राम, तू ही बिगाड़े तू ही सवारी. तू ही बिगाड़े तू ही सवारी. इस जग के सारे काम. हे राम, तू ही दाता विश्व विधाता. तू ही दाता विश्व विधाता. तू ही है सुबह, तू ही है शाम. हे राम, हे राम, हे राम, हे राम. So this beautiful song says that you are my mother, my father, everything you are there. So as a child, for whatever small things you have, you can go to your parents. So similarly, there is no restrictions for you if you have material desires, you have spiritual desires, any desire, big, small. Srila Prabhupada says that you can go to the Supreme Lord. Once what happened is that there was one Guruji, basically, if I recollect properly, Giriraj Maharaj. Giriraj Maharaj, once in the lecture of Srila Prabhupada when he was giving, he was hesitantly asking one doubt, wanted to ask a doubt. And that doubt is that, how can I come out of these material desires? I have so many material desires. And there are all senior Vaishnavas, senior Bhaktas, and now he was hesitant to ask, and what will other people think? Because all are very pure, and I am the only one who has got all these material desires. Who was asking? Giriraj Maharaj to Srila Prabhupada. So then Srila Prabhupada said, for everything you can go to Krishna and ask. So there is nothing wrong. If you have material desires, go and ask. So that, and simply he could have, Srila Prabhupada could have said, what is this? You have been in the association for so many years, but still you have not got rid of your material desires. No, he did not say that way. Neither one should suppress those material desires. You should, once you start engaging yourself in devotional service, very important, please understand. Once you start engaging yourself in devotional service, by engaging your senses, all the 8 senses, then they get purified. Once they get purified, automatically your consciousness will be now turned towards Krishna. Right now our senses are dictating us. If you have seen that Kenopanishad, the chariot, we have seen that. So the horses are the senses. They are moving wherever they want. So you are in a turmoil. So now once you engage the horses in the right direction, in the right thing to do, then they will become calm. They will be in control. And you know where to go now. Your mind is also tamed. And your intellect will be able to, being a driver, it will be able to direct the mind properly and the senses properly. So then you will reach your destination, and the soul will be happy. So right now the soul is not happy. The soul is really, they say that, right? So basically that's what we need to do, that for anything we can go to Krishna and approach him, and that way we are dovetailing our activities. So yeah, let's get back to our subject matter today. I know we have taken some time. So nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. See, it is acronymed as WISE, W-I-S-E. WISE questions were asked by Arjuna, verses 1 to 7, and items of knowledge was discussed from 8 to 12, and S stands for soul and super soul. This is where Krishna kind of gives the characteristics of the soul and the super soul. What's the difference between these two? And the last one is enjoyer. Who is that enjoyer? So am I the enjoyer, or who is that enjoyer? So that's where he talks about the enjoyer, which is there in the second word in this chapter. Okay. So any questions so far anybody has before I move on? Let me see in the chat if anybody has any questions. Okay, Krishna is the reason for all reasons. So, okay, no more questions. Okay.
No question.
No yeah, Prabhuji, anybody has any question?
No, Prabhuji, no question as of now.
Okay. So if you see, the transcendental wisdom will definitely help one to become detached from these material aspirations and simultaneously get attached to Krishna. Understand this. So whatever transcendental, this knowledge, what you are going to get, or the jnana you are going to get, is the transcendental knowledge, which will help us to become detached from the material aspirations, because we all have so many material aspirations. But again, if you artificially try to suppress them, they will come back to you again. So what you need to do is, you need to get somehow you need to get attached to Krishna. And what are the ways you can get attached to Krishna? And how can you get attached to Krishna? Can somebody tell me? How can you get attached to Krishna? You can give so many answers actually. So we discussed so many things. Anything is correct actually. So you can get attached to Krishna as we previously described. So different levels of bhakti are there. So whichever the topmost is what is discussed, and now you can get attached in whatever way. And what Srila Prabhupada put it much more simpler way. You just do ABCD. Take the association of the devotees, read Bhagavad Gita books, chant the holy name, and take Krishna Prasad. In addition to that, you should also be able to do follow the 4 regulative principles. So if you do that, you are really getting attached to Krishna. Slowly and steadily you will progress, and you can see to for yourself that you are now no more the same person who is craving for so many material things. And your aspirations, whatever are there, are now spiritualized or Krishnatized. I don't give up working. Very important, please understand this. Though I am taken up to getting attached to Krishna, that doesn't mean that I have given up my prescribed duties. I am doing my prescribed duties. But again, I am dovetailing it with Krishna. That's the only difference. Please understand that. So now in this chapter, what Krishna is going to do is that he will be discussing more from an analytical way to understand this whatever knowledge that he is trying to impart in the previous chapters, and at the same time such that this knowledge should help you to come towards bhakti, so that he can take you closer to Krishna, not that take you away from Krishna. Unfortunately, the Jnana yogis, especially the Mayavada philosophy, they have good, they've attained a lot of knowledge. But again, that knowledge, whatever they are gaining, is making them go away from Krishna. So this knowledge, if it is imparted by the disciplic succession and follow the Guru Parampara, it should take you closer to Krishna, not away from Krishna. So that's the unfortunate situation for those who are in the Mayavad grab. So they are getting away from Krishna. I've heard one WhatsApp, one small clip. That lady was talking about similar to what yesterday Kushbu Mataji was asked. She was with the impression of the Sahajiya philosophy, saying that Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. So all this situation what we are in, especially COVID situation, they're saying a lot of people are doing Madhava Seva. So there's nothing wrong to help the persons who are in difficulties, but don't think that that is devotional service. Devotional service is devotional service, and when you do it for elevating their consciousness to bring back to Krishna consciousness, then that becomes devotional service. Please understand that. Just giving roti, kapda or makan doesn't make you a devotee. Okay, you will get some pious credit, but again, that will also be a kind of a bondage for you to come back to this material world. So always dovetail your activities with Krishna, and that's where we are supposed to go on. Okay, so this logical presentation what Krishna is going to give you will strengthen your conviction and deepen your understanding. So the underneath principle is that the one is that he is giving you an analytical view, so you are able to analyze things now, and somewhere he will also touch the Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is the analytical study of this material world. So Sankhya Yoga is that, to analytical study of the material world to a large extent, little bit about the spiritual also, but again more to do with the material. So he is going to do that, and he is going to present in a very logical way to strengthen our conviction and deepen our understanding. So that is the reason why we are going into this chapter. So we are in the first section of that wise questions what Arjuna has asked, wherein he asked 6 different subjects he is going to ask. What are the 6 subjects that he is going to? First one is Prakriti, what is nature? What is Purusha, the enjoyer? Kshetra, the field of activities. Kshetrajna, the knower of the field, and Gnanam, the knowledge and the process of knowing that knowledge, and Gneyam, the object of that knowledge. In one way or the other, we can also relate this to what is that? Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. You can also see that everything for that matter comes under this only. So, and in one way, Krishna is telling that anything with these 6 subjects that you are talking about, including the last one, which is understanding the reality, means knowing matter, the spirit soul, and the supreme Lord, is the proper perspective, is called knowledge. In one way, he is in these 7 verses, he is defining what is knowledge. Knowledge means this only: Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Gnanam, Gneyam, and the spirit soul and super soul. So this is what is knowledge. Rest of the things are not considered to be taken as knowledge. So he is kind of defining so nicely that this is what is knowledge. The rest all is not knowledge. Chapter 13, verse 1 and 2. Arjuna uvacha prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrajna eva cha etad veditum ichchami gnanam gheyam cha keshava. Shri Bhagavan uvacha idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidhiyate etadyo veti tam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. So here what Krishna is, Arjuna is asking Krishna is, oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of that field, and the knowledge and the object of that knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this body, O son of Kunti, is called the field. This body is called the field, Kshetra. And one who knows this body is the knower of that field. So that is what he is saying. What is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, he is very much defining, and the subsequent verses he is going to give you the entire thing. To summarize, what are the 6 questions and what are the answers that Krishna has given? Prakriti means material nature, and Purusha means the enjoyer of that matter. The field in which one can act within that material world is Kshetra. Kshetrajna, entity which experiences the field of actions. Gnanam, knowledge and the process of acquiring that knowledge. Gneyam, the object of knowledge. So this is what are discussed, and basically Krishna is giving Kshetra means this body is called the field. Kshetrajna means one who knows this body is called the knower of this field. So basically Kshetrajna means the soul. Soul is the Kshetrajna. Kshetra is this field. So that's the simple definition he gives, and later on he clarifies so many things. We will quickly go through these other things also. Kshetra, who gets the body as the field of activity? Conditioned soul will get it. And why does he get this field? Soul is entangled, entrapped in the material existence because of his attempts to lord it over. So why he got this conditioned? How is that your soul got conditioned? Basically because you wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna. That is the reason why you just came here. And the criteria to decide which body, this is what? According to the capacity to dominate material energy. Suppose you always are dominating person and you just wanted to say that my way is the highway, and so that kind of a attitude you have, then in the next life probably you will take a body of a tiger or a lion, because you wanted to dominate because a lion is the king and it wants to dominate. So you will be given that kind of a body. According to the capacity to enjoy sense gratification, one gets a particular body to function accordingly. So now, since we know the root cause of our ailment is what? Can somebody tell me what is the root cause of our problem? Can somebody put it on chat or anything? What is the root cause of our problems? Why is that we are entangled in this material world? That's what is given here. Nobody? Just any wild try? Okay. Oh, I was sorry. My chat was not updated. Temporary happiness, ignorance, sense gratification. Very nice. So, Priya Mataji. Okay, so basically, our sense gratification is what making us to be in this material world. So, what we need to do? Can we cut off these senses? We cannot cut off these senses. So, what we need to do is that we need to dowtail, or you need to purify these senses. And how is that possible? You engage in service of Krishna, then they get purified. I told you some example some time back. Somebody came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He is a very renowned scholar, and he came with a doubt to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he wanted to address that question, but then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I will discuss about that, but go and do some service in the kitchen, wash the pots, wash the vessels. And he's a very big scholar. And when he asked to do that, and this person went and did that, when he came back, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked, so can I clarify your doubt? Then that person said, no, my doubt is clarified. So what happens is that when you engage your senses in the service of the Supreme Lord, lot of things get clarified. And that is how to engage that. But that's where you need to take the shelter of this bona fide spiritual master to help you out to get out of this material world. He will also help you. Srila Prabhupada has given so many things for us to do. So if you can take the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, you will be able to come out of this entanglement, whatever we are in. So here, chapter 13, verse 3. Kshetragnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetragnor gnanam yatta gnanam mata mama. So Krishna in one way what he is trying to reveal here is that in all the bodies I am present, and that is what is called as knower. And what is knowledge? Knowledge means knowing that who is residing in all the bodies, and that you need to know, and the body in which it is the knower is there, that also you should know. So this is what is defined as knowledge. Gnanam. Gnanam means knowledge. To study the subject matter of the field of activity and the knower of the field very minutely, or you are analytically studying, analyzing and then studying. So kshetra, the field of activity is body. Kshetragna, two kinds of knowers. Again, we have seen that in previously also. This is all kind of summary, or you would say that reiterating, reinforcing whatever our previous understanding is. So two kinds of knowers. One is that super soul, the other is individual soul. How Krishna is the knower? Super soul is the plenary expansion of Krishna. Krishna says, I am also the knower. but not the individual knower of the body. So individual knower is the individual soul. So that is what Lord Krishna defines Kshetra and Kshatrajna in this particular verse again. So yeah, we will not go into the details right now. So here, what's the difference between soul and super soul? Living entities are known as Jivatma. God as maintainer is known as Paramatma. So don't get confused between Jivatma and Paramatma. We are Atma, you can say, but Paramatma, Para means higher, super. So super soul. I am individual soul. Super soul is Krishna, who is there. Is there in our body also. And what is the size of this soul? It is defined in the Shastra that you take the tip of the hair, cut it into 10 parts, again cut it into 1,000 parts, the 1/10 of whatever you got. So that is the size of the soul. That's what is Shastra is saying. We are Anu and Krishna is Vibhu. Vibhu means infinite. So the cognizant, we are cognizant of one's own body, individual knower, but Krishna is cognizant of everyone and everything. So he knows everything. Since he is there in each and every person and each and every jiva, also at a Paramanu level also is there. So unless and until he is there, nothing can move. The soul is secondary proprietor of one body, analogy citizen as the proprietor of the one land. Say the example is that you have this, you are in a particular kingdom and you have a piece of land. You are the owner for that piece of land. But overall, if you see, the king is the owner of the entire area. If he wants, he can take away your land also. Similarly, not only at that time, now also, if suppose there is a land you have, this has happened to one of our friends, they had a agriculture land, but they just got to know that there are some mines that have come beneath his fields. So then immediately government came and taken the lands. And you cannot say no, because they are the owners. So you are individual owner, but again, he is the actual owner. Government is the actual owner. They can take away anytime. We are fallible and he is infallible. So that is what we have seen it earlier. Yeah. So we will take to the next module probably. Any questions you have so far? So this particular chapters may look like more of a theoretical kind of a thing where you are not able to relate so much, but that's okay. So try to relate as much as possible, because this is more to do with the theoretical knowledge that you need to gain, and practical application is more from an individual perspective. To apply this knowledge is what you need to, and we'll try to see wherever possible whatever we are hearing, how we can put it into practice. So Lord Krishna cites the authorities, the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra in this whatever we are talking about, right? So we said that whatever you need to take a decision or define anything to know whether that is correct or not, it has to go through the 3 litmus tests: Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So that is what we also are following based on this scriptural injunction which is given in the 5th verse. This also is there in the 5th verse, where he talks about the soul, and there are different kinds of coverings in our body. So the first covering is the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Gnanamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, and the ultimate is the soul. That's what is there. But these koshas which are there are also being defined to do certain activities at a realization level. That is what we can see. And now if you see here, Annamaya Kosha, food is the supreme object of realization. Example, consciousness of a young child or an amoeba. So first level realization is the Annamaya Kosha. So whenever you are born, what is that immediately your consciousness is, and what is that your needs are. You are only interested in, am I getting my mother's milk or not? If not, I'll cry. So only two things it knows: crying and drinking milk. As soon as you came into this world, we all did that. So we are operating at a Annamaya Kosha level. This is what is the relationship? Kshetra relationship. That means it is related to this gross body, the kshetra and the gross body. Okay. And now the pranamaya kosha, realizing the supreme absolute truth is living symptoms or life forms. One seeks to preserve his life. So you are now at a pranamaya kosha level. That means if you see, if suppose you wanted to kill a small mosquito also, it is trying to protect himself. That is at a pranamaya kosha level. So if suppose further, you know that, and this is again at a gross body level only, kshetra. Gnanamaya, realization to the point of thinking, feeling and willing. So you are realizing at a thinking level, feeling level and willing level. So that is what we Gnanamaya kosha level you are operating. So you ask yourself, why is this all discussed? This is all discussed so that you can find out what is how much of what level you are and what level most of the time you are operating from. And animals operate at the Annamaya level, and next is the Pranamaya level. That's all. They don't go to the next level at all, because they can safeguard if somebody is harming them. That is Pranamaya level, and they are mostly interested in whether I am getting my food to eat or not. But again, there are some animals such as goats. If you see, it is getting killed in the next moment, and his own brother or sister got killed just before in front of his eyes, but still it is eating the grass, because they are operating at the Annamaya level only. So they have not evolved themselves to the next level. Pranamaya level, they have not evolved. But usually animals can operate at Annamaya level most of the time, but Pranamaya level also. And Gnanamaya level, we have seen that we should operate in thinking, in the right way of thinking, feeling and willing. If you know at a bhakti topmost level one of devotional service, what Krishna said, Bhakti Yoga, that is, you know the will of the Supreme Lord and act accordingly. That is the topmost. So your willing is also dovetailed with Krishna, not your own willing. See, what happens is that sometimes we wanted to do for the satisfaction of Krishna. Oh, that is good. But we wanted to do for the satisfaction of Krishna. But is Krishna getting satisfied with whatever activity we are doing? We are not bothered. You see, there is a subtle difference. See, I wanted to take up one service. I wanted to take up this service because I feel that I will get enjoyment, spiritual enjoyment while doing this activity. But point what a highest devotee at that highest level, what he will think is that I will do any activity for the satisfaction of Krishna. And if Anand about if Krishna's will is for me to do this, I will do that. And for that, I might get happiness, I may not get happiness, doesn't matter for me. I will do it because Krishna is willing that I should, because this is Krishna's will, I will do it. So this kind of symptoms are this kind of a with gopis, and that is the reason why we is as the topmost bhaktas, and that is our endeavor also, that we should be, and that is what you when Uddhava was in close contact with Krishna all the time, and because that means Rukmini. He used to go, and you know what? When he used to go, every day he used to go, and he used to go before Krishna used to wake up. He used to go, and he used to be there. And once Krishna goes to sleep, he used to leave. So that means to say 24 out of these whatever hours, he was spending maximum number of much time with Krishna, and he was a very close associate of Krishna, and he used to look like Krishna. Gopis, when Uddhava went to Vrindavan, and why he has to go to Vrindavan, we'll discuss very little. Like Krishna, and he used to, whatever Krishna used to leave, he used to wear Krishna's dresses. See how now there was little bit of pride that came because of this. Why? Because I am so close to Krishna. Hardly anybody is there who is moving. Not even the queens can move so much that I am moving to Krishna. So, and so that little bit of pride, what Krishna sensed in Uddhava, and Krishna can accept anything, but he doesn't wanted any pride, because pride will deprive you of real bhakti. So then he wanted him to go to Vrindavan, and he says, Uddhava, go to Vrindavan, because there are some coward boys and coward girls who are expecting that I will come to them after so many things have happened here. I have taken up the Dwaraka and I'm ruling as a king now. All this, I've never been to Vrindavan, but they are in lot of what do you say? They are feeling that separation. So go and console them. And Uddhava was a very good negotiator. He has got very good knowledge how to negotiate with people, how to talk to people. He was the topmost person, and for most of the time, Krishna also used to engage Uddhava in that kind of activities. He used to take his inputs also, because he is a very knowledgeable person of Shastras. But that tinge of pride was there, and that I am close to Krishna, and I am having a lot of knowledge. That is the reason I am getting that kind of service. So when that he wanted to give that remove that tinge of pride which was there, he sent him to Vrindavan to console these coward girls and women. So when he went there, and he was giving all the knowledge, whatever we are discussing, you are not this body, you are spirit soul, Krishna is the supreme Lord, and you should keep Krishna in your mind, manmana manbhakto. So all this knowledge, whatever we are discussing, he is trying to discuss with gopis to console them. So then gopis say one thing. Gopis say, what all you are saying is correct, but our problem, you know what? Our problem is that in our mind, Krishna is occupied. Whatever we see the butter pot. We see, remember only Krishna. We see only Krishna. We see, for that matter, this tree. I am only seeing Krishna. His pastimes, he was sitting under this tree, and we were having this kind of a time. That time, we are only remembering Krishna. How can I remove Krishna from my mind? This is what the problem is there with us. So can you help us to remove Krishna from our mind? So then Uddhava thought, what is this? This is what is real bhakti, and they are the topmost devotees. What am I? Then instead of trying to give them the jnana, Uddhava sat down and stayed with in Vrindavan, not for 1 day, 2 days, because Vrindavan to Mathura, how much distance is there? Few hours he can reach there, and he's supposed to come back within 1 or 2 days. He stayed there for 6 months. He stayed there for 6 months just to get that highest bhakti is what is there with gopis. We will sing one Gopi Geet, a beautiful song is there. Sometime we will sing that song. The the bhava of gopis come in that very beautiful song. It's part of the Bhagavatam only. That song is there. So all this knowledge what we are trying to get is not to puff up our ego. It is to submit ourselves to Krishna. So dovetail this knowledge also to go towards bhakti yoga. So that see that in that angle. So Gnana yoga is what it is, realizing to the point of thinking, feeling and willing. So gopis were thinking, feeling and willing to do anything for Krishna. Willing to do anything for Krishna. We have seen that pastime where Krishna had a headache and Narada came to the gopis to give the dust from their feet, and they are immediately ready to give, and they are not bothered about what will happen to them. So that's the kind of a thinking, feeling and willing we should. So Vijnana Maya Kosha, realization in which the living entity's mind and his life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. So Vijnana Maya. So you go to the next level where you will be able to experience that the living entity's mind and the life symptoms and distinguished from the living entity himself. So right now we are not able to, somebody was asking that very beautiful question. Again, it comes on to me, well, the way that other person's realization was. The mind, intellect, how can you differentiate? So that differentiation we are not able to make. You are not even able to make the differentiation between your material body and the gross body and the subtle body. So if you can segregate them, that is where you are operating at the Vijnanamaya level. You know what? There are so many yogis, or for that matter, bhaktas also, they operate at a Vijnanamaya level. How? You see Jaypatak Maharaj, he has undergone so many operations at his body level. And right now, if you see, he is not, and nobody would have withstood that kind of an operations. When they do it, they should be taking rest for not less than 6 months to 8 months. Once those, in each operation, once that is done, his organs were transplanted, so many things. Now, but still Maharaj said, I don't wanted to waste my time in taking rest for 6 months, 8 months, bedridden kind of thing. But I have to do service. So he started doing service within 5 days, 6 days after this kind of operations were done. Because they operate at a different level, that is Vijnanamaya level. So they know how to differentiate between this one, whatever we just now discussed, right? So they can distinguish. And that is what you see, there are some yogis also. Whenever any operation is done for them, they say that don't give me anesthesia. And they disconnect their mind from the pain, because pain is experienced at a subtle level with mind, body. Yeah. So maybe I was going monotonous. They wanted to make me stop that. So thank you. So basically that is what it is. So to realize the self as different from the field of activity, including the subtle body. So you need to, so again, wonderful questions people have asked. I'm very much thankful for my realization also. I can relate to this. Thus the soul itself becomes the ultimate object of realization. Now we are not able to distinguish between the soul, the subtle body, intellect, mind, senses. We are not able to distinguish at all. But when you come to different kosha realization, and in one way, all this Ashtanga yoga, in one way, when we are doing Ashtanga yoga, transfer, or we need to transcend from one level to next level. And a lot of people have achieved this Vijnanamaya kosha level by Ashtanga yoga as well as doing the Bhakti yoga. So the beauty about Bhakti yoga is that You don't have to what do you say, torture your body and suppress your this thing. So you can do it in a very joyful way, just by, because our Krishna consciousness process is joyfully performed. So that's the beauty about it. The last kosha is Anandamaya kosha, supreme stage of realization of all blissful nature. One realized the distinction between the self and the supreme self, and enters the blissful loving relationship. All of us are interested, are launching for going to that level. And if you see here, the Vijnanamaya kosha is Kshetrajna, individual soul. So the field, the relationship with Vijnanamaya kosha operation, you are doing with the individual soul level. But Anandamaya kosha, if you soul level, that means between the Supreme Lord and yourself, and then you will be able to experience the Anandamaya kosha. So that is what you need to understand. And this Anandamaya kosha, you can be able to experience when you be in this devotional service, and by mercy of the Supreme Lord, you will also be able to experience this. But you need to be qualified to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Your endeavor is required. So without your endeavor, nothing will happen. Okay. I know we are taking time, so we will take few more. And field of activities in general, the Panchabhutas, these are the 5 gross elements. Jnanendriyas, the senses, ears, eyes, nose, tongue, and skin, and Vishaya, the objects of senses, also called Tanmatras. Tanmatras, Tan means this Rupa, form, sound, smell, taste, and touch are objects of senses. For eyes, it is the form. The object of senses for eyes is form. For ears, it is sound. It's called Shabda. Nose, it is smell, Gandha. Tongue, it is taste, Rasa. Skin, it is Sparsha. So, if you can dovetail your senses towards Krishna by any of these, then you can spiritualize your senses also. What does that mean? You see, I have to see, and if I see the Supreme Lord, deity, and the beauty about the Supreme Lord, then what am I doing? I am able to purify my senses. Sense what? Senses, the eyes. Eyes can be purified. So when you go to a temple, that is the reason why you need to visit a temple. When you visit a temple, your object of senses of eyes can be purified by seeing the Supreme Lord's form. You go there and listen to a lecture or any bhajan, kirtan, anything. So your ears are getting purified. Smell. What are you smelling there? When you see, unlike any other temple in ISKCON, whenever they do the devotional service of Archana, whatever, they also offer the flowers to the Lord, and that flowers are given. First is shown to Srila Prabhupada. After that, it is shown given to given in the sense they are that flowers come to the devotees who have assembled there, and they smell it. And so that is what you are engaging your nose, Gandha, in smelling the Supreme Lord, and you purify that smell, nose, and tongue, taste. When you take Krishna Prasad, you are tasting it, and your skin, Sparsha. When you are touching the Supreme Lord, deity, or in any other way, you can also purify your skin. Yeah, there are so many things we can talk about it. The working senses are hands, legs, voice, anus, and genitals. These are the Karmendriyas. This is Vishayas, and this is Jnanendriyas, and this is Panchendriyas. Okay, the subtle body is made up of false ego, intelligence, and mind. And we also know that the Sukshma Sarira or Linga Sarira, it is called. the contaminated consciousness chitta is also what is made up of these three elements. And there is one other which we did not emphasize much, but there is this is what is discussed in this particular sloka called causal body. Causal body means karana sarira. The vasanas are unfulfilled desires of your previous life, and the karma and avidya, whatever is there, is also coming along with you. We say that. So that is the karana sharira is also coming. In one way, karana sharira also means that what kind of a body I should take is determined by this karana sharira. So that is what it is, much more subtler than the subtle elements. This is what is the causal body or karana sharira. Making sense to all of you? I know we'll take few more minutes, please, 10 more minutes, and we'll complete this particular chapter. Please bear with me. Hope it's okay with all of you. Is it fine? Hare Krishna? Fine with some of you, or all of you for that matter? Okay. Okay, any questions so far? Anybody has, please put it on chat. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji Mataji. So that is what it is. Now, this is same thing, components of the field of activities of 24 elements. Here it talks about 24 elements. And another one which we talked about, which is not material. Material are only 24 elements. The one which we are talking about, the 25th element, is the soul. That's what it is mentioned here. Interaction of the field of activities, desires and hatred, happiness and distress, all you will experience. Living symptoms, consciousness and conviction. If it is there, that means it is the living symptoms are there. So so how do you know that if this person is having life or not? So basically the consciousness is there, and the conviction to do certain things, the willing part is also there. So that's where you say that you are still alive. And if you are saying that you are not alive, that basically what it means is that you should have that willingness to dovetail with Krishna, to do things. If you are not really having that, you are living, but again, you are not living to the full extent, are not utilizing whatever capability you have to the full extent. You are like a kripana. Kripana means a person who is having that ability but not utilizing. The subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, and force. Again, these are all other things. So, items of knowledge. What are the items of knowledge? Here, Krishna, at one length, he talks from 8 to 12 verses. What are these items of knowledge? Basically, he starts with first and foremost thing that what are the things that are getting cultivated or should be cultivated when you are in this kind of a consciousness, or the spiritual consciousness is what he's talking about. The first and foremost thing is the humility. Trunadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadari. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also mentions that the humility is the first quality that you need to have or cultivate as a disciple or a devotee. Because unless until you have that humility, you cannot get this knowledge. So how do you approach a guru? You need to be humbly, submissively asking questions and getting clarifications. So that is the basis, and that's the reason Krishna says that the topmost of all these qualities is that humility. And in one way, once you become a devotee, once you become a bhakta, all these qualities will come to you. And you don't have to do any extraneous effort for this. Once you do come in contact with devotees, association, read books, do your chanting, take Krishna Prasad, then automatically these things will come in. You don't have to really, Okay, Krishna is saying that these things will come to you. Once you get. So one way, suppose you are thinking that I am getting devotional, I am doing devotional service and I am in devotional path for so many years. But if these are not, you are not able to exhibit them, or that's innermost, you are not having these qualities, that means you are not in bhakti, you are in something else. So this is a litmus test for us, because a lot of people, you see that once they get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, they become pride. So a lot of pride comes to them. I am this. I know 700 slokas from down to bottom. You ask me 13.27 sloka. Can you tell me? They will tell. So what good is that? When you cannot exhibit these qualities, then this is all of no use. So process of knowledge. Again, here it talks about so many things. You can read it on your own. Process of knowledge, cultivation of these qualities mentioned in this Bhagavad Gita 8 to 12 is the real method of acquiring knowledge. So if you are acquiring knowledge and this one is not getting developed, humility, etc., etc., that means you are not really acquired knowledge. But because this is the real litmus test that you have gained that knowledge or not. Anything speculated beyond these items of knowledge is ignorance. Other than what is mentioned here, even-mindedness, pleasant and unpleasant events, when it happens, you are equanimous, constant and unalloyed devotion to me. All this is all knowledge. Self-control, steadiness, cleanliness, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, tolerance, simplicity, non-violence. All these things, if you are not, are part of knowledge, and you should gain knowledge. Other than this, Krishna is saying is all ignorance. See the confidence with which Krishna is saying. His knowledge is perfect. And he's saying that anything, knowledge, if you say definition wise, it should be part of this only, this sloka. Anything that is not covered by me, it's all ignorance. That's the level of confidence Krishna has got, because he's a perfect source and a perfect person. Okay, how do you test one's progress? Judge by qualities such as like humility and pridelessness. You can also judge your progress that you are making. What is the real process of acquiring knowledge? Cultivation of these qualities. The real method is by acquiring this knowledge. Okay, and what should be the sadhaka's consciousness? Be convinced that I am the subordinate. Humility is the beginning of knowledge. Very important. Humility is the basis. That's where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also stresses on that. Anyone who wants to compete with God and still advance will be frustrated. You see that the Ravana was frustrated, Kumbhakarna and all these other demons are always frustrated. We are also frustrated most of the time because we wanted to compete with God and lord over the nature. So when you become a subservient of Krishna and do it for Krishna's satisfaction, you will experience that joy, and you will be experiencing that happiness, the real happiness. So many things. What is essential and most important quality we already discussed. Humility is the one which we need to cultivate. And how does this? How do this process of Krishna consciousness help a sadhaka? We are saying sadhaka. That means we are at the second level. What is that level called? Can somebody remember what is that level called? That's called sadhana bhakti. So sadhana bhakti, when you do, what are you doing? The process of Krishna consciousness make the home life very pleasant, especially by doing chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, honor prasadam, discussion on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and deity worship. Very important. So because we still now, our mind has not accepted that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our intellect has not accepted that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when you do deity worship, slowly and steadily, you will be able to your senses will get purified, because your Krishna's deity form is not different than Krishna. So when you start seeing Krishna, your senses are getting purified. When you are doing nice, yes, senses. Again, if you remember in ISKCON temple, what is that scent? Whatever is given to Krishna, they also ask. They will touch your what do you say? This hand, and then mark it here, and you will be able to sense it. So your senses are also getting purified. Anything in the deity worship, whatever you are doing, your senses are also getting purified, and you can get attached to Krishna, wherein it will be purifying your mind and intellect also. So deity worship is very important. And I would request you that as part of the deity worship, it's always good to wake up in the morning, and also as part of the sadhana bhakti, getting up early in the morning and taking up to the chanting process will really help you to become a devotee, and much quicker you can become a devotee by following sadhana bhakti marga. And you can go to the first level, which we are not yet there, but at least Srila Prabhupada Mercy, he has given us a very beautiful approach and a process. Not that he has got it on his own. This is all is mentioned by who has mentioned all this? Whatever we are following, the sadhana bhakti, from where we got all this? Because you may say that this is all invention of Srila Prabhupada, but no. Who has given this? Anybody? In our, the hint is that from one of our acharyas, Rupa Goswami. Yeah, Srinidhi Mataji, thank you so much. We are Rupanuragas. So all these nectar of instructions, nectar of devotion is what he has given. These literatures one has to read, and we will be able to do this reading as part of our extended course called Gita Sadhaka. So we will be, because we need to put it into practice. It's not just theoretical, and so that's where it is. So yeah, we will talk about this very at a high level process of knowledge, humility, amanitvam, not to be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. So we are always anxious. Oh, if somebody takes my name, I will be very happy. So because that anxiousness is there. So the sweetest name of all the names, you know what? Sweetest name of all the names. Anybody? Ha ha! Not Krishna's name actually for us. It should be, but it is my name or your name. So that is the sweetest. Tell me one more time. Tell me one more time. So we are interested to take or listen to our name. It is so sweet. So pridelessness. Again, a lot of things: non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, all this. So we will not go into the details. Again, all these qualities is what you will be able to get slowly and steadily. Detachment from general masses. This is also knowledge. And because most of the time what we do is that, see, they say that Krishna consciousness, ISKCON way is a revolutionary way, or it's a revolutionary in the sense that if the entire world is going in this direction, we are going in this direction. So our directions are different. So why? Because everybody is going towards gratifying their material senses. But what are we doing? We are not trying to gratify our material senses the way the other general population is doing. We are going to purify our senses and see to it that Krishna is Rishikesha. His senses are getting satisfied, and we are doing it for the satisfaction of Krishna, not our material senses. So that way we are moving in opposite direction, and sometimes people may so it might so happen that you might be put aside by the general masses, but that is natural, that will happen. Don't be surprised. or you will also have the tendency to get detached from the general masses. That's also good, but at the same time, don't do it whimsically. So do it under proper guidance. And if you take association of the devotees, automatically you will be slowly and steadily giving up the material sense gratifying population. So if you, so hope I made that sense. Okay. Yeah, here unalloyed devotional service, Ananya Bhakta, engage in 9 process of bhakti. We discussed that in the previous slide, the Navavidya Bhakti Mark. So that's what is discussed here. Yeah. Okay, so process of knowledge, all these things we have seen, and here it is applicable to whom is also given. Whether so humility, it is applicable to devotees and gnanis. And now if it comes to other things, say for instance here devotees, constant and unalloyed devotion to Krishna, a devotee can do. Gnanis cannot go there. You need to become, your gnana should culminate to make you a devotee. So that is where it is mentioned here that constant and unalloyed devotion to Krishna can happen as a devotee when you become a devotee. But gnanis cannot really come there. Yeah, similarly others, whatever is mentioned there. So the soul and super soul, we have been touching upon this. So you know that who is the soul and who is the super soul. And so that's what is mentioned here. Super soul is all pervading, and he knows everything and everything. So we only know about our kshetra only. See, the kshetra has changed. My kshetra is my individual body, but Krishna's kshetra is this entire universe, and which includes us also. So he knows everything. So yeah, so super soul is all reconciling, and super soul is undivided. So any questions you have, you can discuss later. Source of all knowledge and enlightenment is the super soul. And characteristics of the super soul, we discussed that he knows everything. And qualification to understand that kshetra, kshetrajna, etc., etc., fully understood by devotees only. Mad Bhakta. So basically, my devotees can understand all these, whatever I have discussed so far. When you become a devotee, you will understand everything that is discussed, which is part of the knowledge part. So that is the knowledge part, everybody can understand. The last one, enjoyer. Who is the real enjoyer? Krishna is the real enjoyer. Qualities of a jiva is what is discussed here. 84 lakh species based on action and desire is what is created. And jiva goes and enters into those, takes those bodies. Qualities of material nature is what is, it is temporary and keep transforming, and controls jiva through 3 modes. That is what material nature does. Rajasic, Tamasic and Sattvic modes. And the qualities of the super soul is the transcendental enjoyer, proprietor, witness and permitter, sanctioner. Realized jiva, what living entity realizes when enlightened by knowledge, can distinguish between spirit and matter. He knows that what is matter, what is spirit. Right now we are not able to, because we do not have the perfect knowledge, which is realized knowledge. Sees the indestructible super soul as companion. He sees that super soul is there within our heart, and he is a non-doer. So what does that mean? He is non-doer. So basically, you think that you are doing certain activities, but no. If I am doing certain things, because super soul is there, I am able to take that activity and do that activity. Intelligent. Krishna says that whatever buddhi is there, that is what I am. I am there, so you are able to do that activity. And similarly, digestion. He says that I am the digestive fire. If that digestive fire is not there, whatever you are eating, nothing gets digested. He's saying everything is me. I am the doer. You are non-doer. Just understand that. So once you get into this non-doership, then you will know that I am nothing. Everything I am depending upon Krishna only. So then you submit fully surrender can happen. Acquiring Jnana Chakshu. So how can you get this Jnana Chakshu when you understand the difference between body and soul and have equal vision about everything, then you will be able to get this Jnana Chakshu by gaining this knowledge. So that's where we end this chapter. Thank you for your patient hearing and forgive me for taking more time. So quickly, one or two questions relating to this particular chapter. If you have anything, we will take it up. Rest of the things we will take it the next day. And those who have not registered for Gita Sadhaka, so please register. And also, so WhatsApp that you have registered with the subject saying that Gita Sadhaka, and they will put you to the that WhatsApp group. So please send a message also in addition to registering through that whatever link was sent. How many of you have registered so far? Please, can you raise your hands? How many of you registered? So if you have not registered, please register, and I request you to register. So we will take up this rest of the chapters also and complete it. And we have other things also to do. There is one Srila Prabhupada video that we need to see, the movie actually, Srila Prabhupada movie, and there is a feedback also we would expect from you. So request all of you to prepare your feedbacks by, it is always good if you can record on your mobile whatever feedback and send it to me. So that way we can take your permission to put it on our website also if required, again with your permission. So that can also happen, and this is going to inspire others who can take up to this course with your feedback. So please give your feedback. Good, bad doesn't matter. We are not asking to praise us. If you can criticize us in a way that we can improve, we would definitely want you to do that. Please do that. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any quick one or two questions with respect to today's discussion?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So there is one question from our Prem Raja Shyam Das Prabhuji. Needs little bit more light on Kshetra and Kshetragya. Oh,
Kshetra and Kshetragya. Kshetra is basically the area of your influence. That is what Stephen Covey in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he mentions that your area of influence, he goes to a different level of talking of area of influence is that what you can know which is in your control is what is area of. So I know about what is happening in my body and what is happening with my mind, what is happening with my intellect. These 8 senses within this body is what I am knowing about that. So the knower of the Kshetra is called Kshetragya, which is the soul. So soul is because if soul is not there, I cannot sense, I cannot think, I cannot use my intellect, or for that matter, nothing can be experienced. Because who is that who is experienced? Kshetragya in one way is the soul, and later on he will qualify, Krishna is going to qualify because he is also there within you. Kshetragya in one way is the individual soul and also the super soul who is there within your body. But the distinction is that the Kshetragya, the soul can only experience and get the information within his body. The super soul, who is also dual Kshetragya, like basically super soul can know everything and anything. So that's the distinction. So any other question, Prabhu? Krishna Rao Prabhu, he's got raised his hand.
Yes.
Yeah, Krishna Rao Prabhu, go ahead. You can unmute Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Krishna Rao garu. Cheppandi sir.
Sir, ade Prabhu garu. నేను పెట్టాను నా వాట్సాప్ లో మీకు మెసేజ్లు.
Can you read it, Prabhu? He is put in the chat, it seems.
You are 4 in that WhatsApp.
Can you read it, Prabhu? Raghunath Puri Prabhu, you are muted. He has put it in the chat, it seems. Krishna Ravji.
No, he has not put in chat. He said that he has put it in WhatsApp, Prabhu.
Oh, okay. Anything related to today's discussion, Prabhu? Because we'll take that anything other than this
No,
sort of time. Well, definitely all these things will be clarified. Whatever, anything related to today's discussion, if anybody has, they can ask. If not, we'll end for. Okay, so we'll end for today, Prabhu. Raghunath Puri
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes, Prabhu. No question.
So, Raghunath Puri Prabhu, can you do short kirtan or any other devotee would like to do? Okay, you go ahead, Prabhu. Raghunath Puri Prabhu. Short kirtan will be there.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you very much. See you all tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.